Shannon Rice Marula here with Saturday Success Seconds with Shannon, where you are guaranteed to be educated as well as motivated. And I believe you're going to get a little bit of both here today, ladies. So here's the deal. I don't want to keep you long today, but I do encourage you to watch this video until the very end. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I do encourage you to watch it until the very end, because I'm truly excited about the content that I'm going to be sharing with you all today. It is all coming from, you know, a place of inspiration and education and hopefully motivation to you and whoever is watching. This week I received an email from a group of women who, after reading a write-up that I was featured in on Boss Magazine, they were really inspired by some of the answers that I gave to the questions that I was asked. And, you know, so I received these emails, and the women wanted to know, man, Shannon, you really inspired me with your responses, and I just wanted to know, from a person who is living with an autoimmune condition, how are you able to run your company and at the same time live with this condition? And I said, man, that's a really bold thing to do, to email someone and to not only ask them about how they're able to do it, but to pretty much talk about the situations that they are currently in. And so I just wanted to be bold along with them, to be very transparent in creating this video, to give you a little insight on some of the things that I do experience sometimes on a day-to-day basis living with an autoimmune condition. Now, before I get into that, I want to give you a little bit of an understanding of what autoimmune conditions are, because this is national, I believe it's National Autoimmune Awareness Month, and so I'm not trying to take you to school, but I do want you to have a little bit of an understanding of what we mean when we say autoimmune condition. So you have two types of people. You have a person with a normal immune system, and you have a person with an abnormal immune system, and both people have immune systems that are ready to pretty much knock out that foreign substance or that virus or whatever tries to invade the body. And once the immune system catches hold of that thing, its goal is to what? Knock it out, right? And so then it goes back into what? Protection mode, just kind of lurking around to see what would be the next foreign substance or pollutant or toxin they need to take out. That's what happens with a person who has a normal immune system. A person with an abnormal immune system, it doesn't really happen that way. After they knock that thing out, the immune system pretty much just stays in attack mode. It continues to punch things and knock things out, and those things happen to be our organs, our muscles, and our joints and our nerves and other areas of the body. So pretty much the body begins to turn on itself. And so that is what is happening to about 50 million people in the world, and of those 50 million, 30 million happen to be women. All right? And so that is why these women emailed me, because they want to know, how do I do it? Well, I tell you this, ladies, it is not easy. It is downright scary sometimes. Matter of fact, when I had what we call a flare-up, which is what I just mentioned, when the body just kind of stays revved up and it starts to attack different parts of the body, we call that a flare-up. And when I experienced my first flare-up, it was, oh my gosh, I thought my life was going to end. It was so freaking scary. All I could do was, all I did was think about, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to walk again, you know, because I was in a place where for months I had limited mobility. It would take me hours and hours to make it to the restroom, and sometimes I wasn't able to walk. I would have to literally crawl on the floor, and it would take me hours just to make it to the restroom. And then when I made it to the restroom, I had to spend another hour or two just to get up and do what I needed to do in the restroom. So it was just a crazy time. You know, I was constantly envisioning myself dying alone, because I was here by myself. I didn't have a family member here. My husband worked about 15, 16 hours a day because he was the only one bringing in income, and so he had to work to cover some of the medical expenses that we were starting to accrue. So it was a crazy time, and it was scary. But in the midst of all of that, ladies, what I had to ask myself is this, and this may help you. I had to ask myself, and I had to be honest with myself, Shannon, are you going to be one of those pathetic people who are fortunate to have sight but lack vision? And that thought just kept rolling through my mind over and over and over and over again. And it wasn't until one day where I was strong enough I could walk a little bit, but I couldn't walk around an entire store. I was in Walmart, and I had to roll around in one of those little buggies, those little electric buggies. And I was pissed off, ladies. I was mad. I was upset. I was frustrated. I was looking at all these people walking and laughing, doing all the things that I had done for 30 years, right? And I was fat. I was mad, and I was so upset. And I remember saying that to myself again, Shannon, are you going to be one of those pathetic people who has sight but lacks vision? And it was that moment where, ladies, I decided that I had to change my focus. I had to change my focus from just focusing on what I could see with my eyes to focusing on what I wanted to see in my future. And that is what I call vision. Let me paint it a little better for you here. Imagine two people walking down the street. And at the end of the street, ladies, there's a big pile of dirt. There's a big pile of dirt. Both people see the dirt. Person A says, man, that is a lot of dirt. And that's pretty much all they say about the dirt. And then person B, they said, yeah, that is a lot of dirt. And I'm beginning to imagine a school can be put right there. And I can see where kids, the playground could be right here. I envision how the teachers can have their own spot here. Better yet, I envision a place called Girlpreneurs Worldwide where women from around the world can come and get trained and educated and motivated. And I can see that spot right there. I can see where we can have the parking lot here and we can have the cafeteria over here. And you know, ladies, that is vision. When you can see something that has not yet been formed. See, person A just saw what was before them. Person B saw what was before them, and they saw into the future. And that's where I was, ladies. Even though I saw myself in that not wheelchair, but in that electrical chair that day in Walmart, I had to change my focus. And what I began to envision as I watched those people walk around, I said, you know what? One day I'm not going to be just walking, I'm going to be running. I'm going to be running better than I ever did before. And I began to envision myself speaking. I said, you know what? I'm not the best speaker, but I'll be bold enough to speak when I need to speak. You know, I'm not the best, but I will become better, because that's how I envision my future, ladies. You know, I'm not where I want to be health-wise right now, but I will be healthy again. And so when I started going to my physician, it's so funny. She saw me in that state of mind where I was just focused on what I could see with my eyes. And over time, she noticed that I wasn't asking those same questions over and over. Am I going to die? And am I going to be crippled? And, you know, And I was just so crazy. I was so concerned about everything that I read. I mean, I would read so much stuff, and that stuff would just inundate my mind, and I would just carry it around with me. And then I stopped doing that, and I stopped asking the questions. And then, so funny, a couple of months ago, I was in there, and I was getting some infusion treatments that I go for every month. And she said, well, Shannon, we had to change medications. And do you have any questions? And I sat there with my laptop, and I kept talking or kept writing. Matter of fact, I was sending out a Girlpreneur post that morning. And she said, you don't have any questions for me? I said, no, I'm good. I'm focused right now. She said, well, what are you focused on? I said, I'm focused on my vision. And she said, your vision? I said, yeah. See, before I was focused, I was only focused on the things that I could see with my eyes. Before I would have questions with her about, you know, is this medication is going to cause a side effect and it's going to do that? Ladies, I don't worry about that anymore. I don't worry about that anymore. You want to know how I do it? I keep my eyes focused on my vision. I keep my eyes focused on the things that I need to be focused on. My focus holds me accountable. My focus keeps me connected with the right people. My focus keeps me in good health. My focus on my vision keeps me in good health. My vision keeps me connected to the right people, ladies. So if you want to know how I do it, that's how I do it. My vision pulls me closer to the finish line. And that is what I'm focused on each and every day. Each and every day. I don't focus on how I feel. My vision gets me past the pain. My vision gets me past the pain. My vision gets me past feeling inadequate. My vision keeps me going, ladies. My vision keeps me bold. My vision turns my pain into power. My vision turns my mistakes into my messages. And it helped me turn that BS doctor's report into this business I call Girlpreneurs Worldwide. You see that hat? I am a girlpreneur, and I wear it with boldness, and I wear it with much courageousness, because that's what it takes. It takes courage to pursue your vision every single day. It takes courage to see that dirt and be able to not only imagine it, but write it down and then take action each and every day to accomplish that vision, ladies. So I want to encourage you. I want you to encourage you to stay the course, ladies. Stay the course. If you don't have a vision, I'm going to give you a few questions that you can start working on today to help you develop that vision. Today, I want to point out this man right here before we end this video, though. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, ladies. He is that person who could have focused on the dirt. In his case, it could have been those walls of the prison for 26 years. 26 years, ladies. He was in jail. And he could have made a decision to keep his eyes focused on what he could see, but he didn't, ladies. He kept that vision before him. He envisioned himself being a leader, even though he was in jail. He envisioned himself leading the people once he got out. And guess what, ladies? He did. Some 26 years later. 26 years later, he was able to do that. So how am I able to do it, ladies? How am I able to push past the days where it's so hard for me to type? You know, I have to do this sometimes because my wrist hurts so bad. You know, you may be thinking, oh, she changed her hairstyle. No, yeah, I did. But ladies, I put on this wig because it is too painful for me to constantly curl my hair and do all that stuff. So I had to get something that can keep me focused on my vision and not my hair. You see what I'm saying? Your vision holds you accountable for everything. It keeps you motivated beyond everything else that is going on in your life. So ladies, I want you to catch the vision that Mandela had. I want you to catch the type of vision that I have. The type of vision that's going to pull you forward despite your adversity. And as I mentioned before we end, I wanted to share some questions with you that you can start asking yourself so that you can start developing your vision or possibly sharpen your vision. What do you want to do, ladies? First, you got to figure out what it is you want to do. See, I knew in that wheelchair that I wanted to have one of the leading personal growth and leadership development firms for young women. That's what I wanted. And the fact that I wanted to do that, I needed to be healthy in doing that. So I had to envision myself being healthy in order so I could do exactly what I'm doing here with you today. Why do you want to do it? Why do I want to do it? Because this is a part of my purpose. This is who I was created to be. I was meant to inspire and to motivate and inspire young women. Not everybody, but young women to do exactly what you know you can do. It's already in you. And so sometimes you just need somebody like me to give you some assistance along your path. And so that's why I do what I do. So you have to figure out, why do you want to do what you do? What are the benefits of doing it? Oh my gosh, the benefits of doing this is priceless. The fact that I got emails from those young women and they were motivated and they were inspired and they wanted to know, how can I help them become better even though they were in a tough situation. Oh my God, lady, this is why I do what I do, for that reason alone. And that is the benefit, knowing that, you know, I am helping someone else along their journey means more than I can even explain, even put into words at this time. And so I want you to work on what are the benefits of doing whatever it is you want to do. What are the negative results of not doing it? What are the negative results of not doing it, ladies? For me, it will be similar to suffocating 24 hours a day. If I didn't have the opportunity to do exactly what I'm doing right now, it would be like somebody was holding their arm or their hand around my throat and suffocating in that position each and every day. What would life be like if you didn't do that thing? And then I want you to work like hell and partner like hell with that vision each and every day, ladies. Each and every day. Listen, I hope that this has helped you in some way today. I hope that you understand that you are special, you are unique, you were made to do great things, and all you have to do is just write the vision. The good book says, write the vision to make it plain. Write the vision, make it plain. Start off by answering those few questions that I just put out there for you. And with that, ladies, have a wonderful week becoming a visionary of your own life and your future. Until next time, this is Shannon Rice Maruli with Saturday Success Seconds with Shannon. Bye-bye.